Hey, what's up guys? Today's video we're gonna be working on the Dodge Dakota RT. So in the last video we got the water pump, the timing cover on, and the distributor in, and now we're going to focus on getting our push rods in, our guide plates, our rocker studs, and our rockers on. So these are the 1.6s. So we'll get all this stuff on, and hopefully if all goes well we're gonna have this thing running. So we're also gonna put the intake on, we still gotta put the headers on, so a bunch of stuff. Let's get to work. All right, so I'm just using a black permanent marker. It doesn't matter because it's gonna end up rubbing off anyways, but we're just gonna put this permanent marker on the top of our valve, intake and exhaust, and then we're gonna put our rockers on, and we'll take the lash out. So we'll put the rocker on. We'll throw the nut on. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna rotate the engine over a few times, and we're gonna look to see where it's rubbing. It's gonna wear off our permanent marker, and we're gonna see where it's riding on the valve. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see. So we rolled it over a handful of times, and you can see our wear pattern right there. So see how the roller is rolling in the center of the valve. This one, we're kind of fighting with the marker, not always making an imprint. You can see it's kind of rubbing it off in the middle, but we'll redo this one just to show you guys. We'll put marker on it again and roll it over again. All right, guys, so we're having trouble with this rubbing off completely. You can hold the wheel that runs on here just to kind of drag it a bit, but you can still see, hopefully you can see, it's in the middle. Same as our exhaust side, so it starts there and it finishes right down there. So we're still in the center, so we're gonna go ahead and put in all of our guide plates, our rocker studs, our push rods, and our rockers across the whole engine, and we'll get moving. And we're gonna soak all of our rockers in oil for about half an hour, you said, right? Yeah. So we're gonna throw them in this little Tupperware. We'll put a bunch of oil on it, and we'll let those soak while we put the studs and guide plates in. Okay, so while the rockers are soaking in oil, we are actually just putting on the adapter plates. I was thinking we may have been able to get away with not putting these SpinTech adapters, but there's bolts on the bottom right here, and these heads don't have it. Even though they have the other wider bolt pattern, they don't have these bottom bolts. So they don't have this one, or the one at the back bottom. So still have to use them. So I'm gonna do this side, he'll do that side, and we'll get them on. All right, so a bit of an update for you guys. We've got the headers on and stuff like that. We did fight with the adapter plates for the SpinTech. Which brand did you say they were? Do we want to call that guy out? Anyways, they're not SpinTech adapter plates. They're another guy's adapter plates. They're one piece, and the bolt holes didn't line up with the IndyX heads. We had to open up the bolt holes a little bit. It was, massage them a little bit. Yeah, because we couldn't get the bolts in. We tried everything, trust me. But we ended up opening up the holes on the plates a little bit, and then now we got it all on. So we did go with copper sealant gasket maker on the driver's side. Actually, we did it on both sides. But we went with that because it is so close to the steering shaft. I don't know if you guys can see it, but the steering column, it's like barely clears. So before Jason had Remflex gaskets, and just a standard gasket and a Remflex, and it was right up against that steering column. So we went this way, that way it's got a bit of clearance, and we'll keep moving. So now we're gonna do rockers, guide plates, and hopefully we'll make some progress here. This held us up for like a couple hours though.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are working on the Dakota. As you can tell, we already have the lifters off. We set them over here in oil, and we're waiting for Boosted to bring the battery.
All right, so right now Jason is just putting on the rocker studs, right?
Yep.
And tighten them to 45 foot-pounds. So we've done these two. So he's pretty much just centering them. You just kind of leave them snug or a little bit loose, and then you bolt everything up. You put your rockers on, and then you move the guide plate in, and then you just snug it down. And then this crippled guy showed up.
I'm here to work. It's been too long.
What did you do? What's the story? Tell everybody.
I had to tell him.
Yeah.
So I was getting to the shower, and as I was walking to the shower, I hit my toe on the tub next to it. so I broke my toe.
But he's got a full leg cast.
No, it's just a splint.
He's trying to play it off like he broke his leg.
so I can get days off work.
He's got crutches and all he did was broke his toe. Which toe? Your little toe or your big toe? Oh my god, that's even worse. You should at least said your big toe.
I broke my whole foot. Right there. Is that better?
No. He's got crutches. Who paid for all this? Alright, well, John's a bitch. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is get the valve springs back on here, remove our checking springs. So I'm gonna use compressed air, pressurize that cylinder. It's gonna bump it over and turn it. And we're gonna leave the compressed air in that cylinder. Piston's gonna shoot to the bottom. It's gonna hold our valves in, and then I can put our 2 springs back on with all the retainers. And we're gonna use this tool that I showed you guys before from Bluegrass Performance. I'll put a link in the description below where you guys can get a special discount code on this thing too. So it's pretty cool. It's made for these engines. It also works on LS engines, but we're gonna use it. Let's go. Grab that little guy. Okay guys, valves are in and everything is good. Our retainers, our keepers are in. So now we can finish this one up too and get everything on here. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to explain what we're doing here. So we've got the guide plates and we've got them snug. And what we're doing is on these particular rockers, since they're the adjustable ones, they rely on the guide plate to make sure that the rocker stays on the top of the valve. Because if you don't have these guide plates in, these can essentially, oh, this one's already tight, but here's a better example. If you don't have guide plates, these can dance around and the rocker can pivot and it can fall off the valve or ride on the side of the valve. So that's what these are doing, is it's holding it in place from going left to right so that our rocker stays on top of the valve. So you can actually, like, watch, I'll make this ridiculous. I could push this like that, and then all of a sudden your rockers are over here and then it's falling off your valve like that. So see how you can move them? That's what we're essentially doing, is lining this up on the top of the valve. Okay, so we just went through and we tightened all of our guide plates and we tightened these down to 45 foot-pounds. And now we're putting our soaked roller rockers all on. We'll put the nuts on and then we can start adjusting our lash. Okay, so it's actually the next day. We stayed up till like 11 finishing this, and we're gonna go ahead and put in our little locks in, so the Allen key in the top. So we are adjusting our rocker rollers, or roller rockers, and what we're doing is you're spinning the push rod. So if I can get another example here, it's loose. So this one's loose, right? So you can see it's all the way down on the bore, and right now it dances. So you can spin it, and with, I don't know if I can do this with one hand with the camera, but you're gonna spin it and you're gonna tighten this down until you feel resistance. So you can't bounce it up and down anymore. Another example, so you can bounce up and down. We're gonna snug this down until we feel resistance here, turning the push rod. So we're not gonna go crazy, feel it snug up, and then that's at 0 lash, and then we're gonna add 3/4 of a turn on top of that. So that's gonna be our preload. So we're gonna go ahead and do every one. We're gonna make sure both valves are closed and it's at TDC on each one. And as long as both valves are closed, we're gonna adjust them like that. All right, so all of our rockers are in place. We got 3/4 of a turn preload on all of them, so we're all good. We double checked, triple checked everything. Now we're working on the Hughes air gap. So Jason's just installing that right now. He's getting all the fittings and stuff on there because they kind of just give you the intake and then they give you all the fittings, and you have to decide which ones you're gonna use and put where and all that stuff. So we're just getting all situated. We got our water neck one, or for that heater hose that goes into the water pump. We got this one, that's a heater hose one, and just all sorts of vacuum lines. So we'll get it all sorted out and then we'll show you what we got. All right, so here's where we're at. I just finished putting in that little plug there. I got a 180-degree thermostat from STANT. I can link that down below for you guys. So 180 from STANT. I know there's a lot of stuff on this table, but it's getting hectic, boys. We got a brand new water neck, new gasket. I'm gonna drill an 1/8 of an inch hole in this just so we can bleed it a little bit because there's no jiggle pin or nothing in it. So just gonna go right there, not on the sealing surface, but just close, probably about there. I'll throw a hole in it just so it can bleed faster and better so we don't have any air pockets in this thing. All right guys, so we're gonna finish getting this intake manifold, and that's gonna pretty much do it for this video, and then you guys will have to tune in to see the next one. So we got the bored out throttle body, the OEM throttle body. We're gonna throw it on here, the 2-barrel adapter plate, and it's gonna go into the Hughes air gap. We're gonna get this buttoned up, get our fuel injectors and everything on. So it's gonna do it for today's video, you guys. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. It does help support the channel and the YouTube algorithm and all that stuff. And also make sure you're subscribed with that bell turned on so you're notified of all the latest videos. And I'll see you guys on the next video. So we should be able to throw this intake on, get this thing buttoned up and started. So make sure you guys stick around and we'll see you guys in the next video.